Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope your Ramadan is going well. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us in a hadith, إِذَا جَاءَ رَمَضَانَ فُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُ الْجَنَّةِ وَغُلِّقَتْ أَبْوَابُ جَهَنَّمَ وَصُفِّدَتْ الشَّيَاطِينَ أو سُلْسِلَتِ الشَّيَاطِينَ in Sahih Muslim. That when Ramadan comes, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that when Ramadan comes, the doors of paradise, Jannah, are opened up, and the doors of Jahannam are closed and locked, and the devils, the shayateen, are chained. This hadith, it tells us something, that if the doors of Jannah are open and the doors of Jahannam are closed at this time, it means that we have to have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and reduce our fear. Hope and fear normally are two emotions that should be balanced with each other. They're like wings, two wings of a bird. You have hope in Allah's reward and hope in Allah's good pleasure, but you have fear for your bad deeds. You have fear of punishment. But why is the Prophet ﷺ telling us that Jannah is open and Jahannam is closed? Because Ramadan is a time of hope. Ramadan is a time when you look towards the positive things, when you look towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's acts of worship and reward behind them, and you think with an eager heart that this is an open opportunity. A feast of Ramadan is really not the food that we have at iftar. The feast of Ramadan is all of the different acts of worship that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed us to do and all the rewards of it. And so this is also a time when we purify our hearts from a different type of hope and fear. For a different type of hope. What is that? From any hope in anything in creation, and turn that towards a hope in Jannah and paradise. So for example, we don't have hope that our money is going to make us successful. We don't have hope that our popularity or our looks or our strength or our family or anything else that is of the things of the dunya, the world. We purify our hearts from that and we put our hopes solely in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that when the doors of Jahannam are closed, it means that all of the different fears that we have after that, we don't have any fear of anything else. The fear of loss of wealth, or the fear of loss of job, or the fear of loss of something else. We put those fears aside because Allah has covered our greatest fear. We know as well that this is a time when the shayateen are locked up. What does that mean? It's a time when we can stop focusing on the way that we were in the past, the bad habits that we had in the past that were influenced by the shayateen. Those things have stopped now. Those things have come to an end. You find it much easier. It doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect in Ramadan. It doesn't mean that your own ego and your own desires don't do their own things. But what it means is that the fuel and the prompting of the shayateen is finished. And so we take that opportunity to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we realize that if we ourselves simply stop desiring to go towards those sins, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it so easy for us. And so this is why in Ramadan, when we realize that Allah has created these incentives, then purify our hearts from any incentive except that incentive of pleasing Allah Most High. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has closed off the doors to temptation, then realize that the only temptation that we should have is that temptation to become better for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who take advantage of open doors of paradise and the closed doors of Jahannam. And when we go back to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we are safe from Jahannam and we go into paradise. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. جزاك الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان